Well, good afternoon, everybody, or whatever time it may be that you're watching Internet Traffic Kings. I'm the Big Fabu, John Fondy, broadcasting from the campus of UNLV in Las Vegas, Nevada. Starting to open up here a little bit more, but I'm telling you, don't plan on coming up to play poker or anything like that because it's going to be shut down for a while. But I'm really excited. We're at show number 11 now, so the traffic is really doing well. And you guys can help us out. We're not asking for anything from this except your support. I mean, this is a non-ad sponsored show. So we want to make sure that you go to our website, Internet Traffic Kings, and also make sure that you give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcast. And then, of course, tell your friends to go to our YouTube channel, which is really doing well. I'll talk about that a little bit more. And don't forget, as I mentioned, Spotify as well, too. So those are the places where we're going to be on there, and got a big week that we had coming up. Again, things are changing, on a daily basis. It seems like every week there's something that's going on, and how we can sort of relate this to it. We have experts on the show, and these experts that we have on the show really are phenomenal. And just like our executive producer, these are the experts in the industry that if they wanted to, they could charge up to $1,000 an hour. So we really have some great value on this show. The show's been going good. We really couldn't have really done it without you. So it gives me great privilege right now to bring in our executive producer. He's the click father. He's Kevin DiVincenzi. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, John. How are you?
I'm doing well now. Your background's a little different now. I understand you're broadcasting from your Las Vegas.
Yeah, I should actually be sitting on the lake, but at 110 degrees, it just wouldn't work too well.
Yeah.
In my Vegas property for the next 2 weeks for the next 2 episodes. So
yeah, so that's good that you'll be there, and then you'll be back in your Malibu Beach home. We'll see the ocean behind you, and you'll be having some fun with that, and we'll be taking a look at it as well. So, in other words, subscribe. Make sure that you're a part of our family, and we've got great information. I guarantee you, Kevin, I have to say the guests have all been great, but it seems like they're just getting better and better and better, and this show is no differently. A little show note here. We won't have Bennett Kelly, the big dog, with us here today, but he's normally with us here, and so he may be taking a vacation for a couple of weeks here, but we'll take that into consideration. But typically, he's on our shows, gives some great legal advice, and kind of enables you to sit at home and actually, work on that typeware without a net, because he's basically there. And you work with that Frankie as well, too.
John, what that really means is the next 2 weeks, we can say whatever the fuck we want, and nobody's going to stop us. So it's great.
That's
totally
true. And that's the way we roll in here as well. And so, but Kevin, you've known a lot of these guests for a long time, so you've interacted with them. You know them, the ins and outs of what their business are. What goes into making the selection for the guests we have on the show?
Honestly, John, I look for a good variety in our different guests. People that provide different value, whether it's somebody that's good in search, somebody that may be an influencer, like when we spoke to Ian Fernando. Just a lot of different types of people to find, but always a veteran, always somebody who's been doing this for several years, and somebody that's very hard for people to get to. Like our guest today, Evan or Neil Patel. These are people that you normally can't really get to, by dropping an email or what have you, and you can get the insight, which normally you'd be paying a lot of money for. So it's great to share it with our guests.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about people that are sort of reinventing themselves or starting to figure out that they've got to maybe, add something to their portfolio. And this is a great place to really get your feet wet and find out what direction that you want to go in, and then reach out to these experts and stuff. And, having watched the show certainly goes a long way, because it shows that these experts, that you're interested enough to take your time to subscribe and watch these shows over and over again. And the great thing about it, if you're just joining us, you can go to our YouTube channel, or you can go to our website, Internet Traffic Kings, and you can actually track these shows from the very beginning. So you really won't miss out on everything.
Yeah, on YouTube, just go to YouTube and then type in Internet Traffic Kings, and you'll see our channel. Just subscribe to our channel. Last I looked, we had about 800 subscribers, so it's growing, each and every week. We're very soon have thousands of subscribers, meaning every time we release a new episode, you'll get a notification on your phone or your device saying that there's a new episode available. So
Well, another great thing about it is the viewership on that YouTube channel is going through the roof as well.
yeah, the individual interviews, they're getting thousands and thousands of views, you know, and keep in mind, they're only, you know, out there essentially for 6 days and then the next episode comes out. So yeah, they're getting quite a bit of viewership. So it's good.
Yeah,
I'm very
so-
happy. We'll keep doing it if people keep watching it.
Yeah, we will, and we learn stuff, and we've got new guests that basically come in from time to time, and so but you're back in Vegas, so tell us what's going on. Not a whole lot here to share with you.
Yeah, there's not much. I mean, I'm happy, you know, with all these riots that have been happening for the past couple of weeks. I mean, I'm happy to be in Vegas as far as it's very safe, and you know, they don't put up with a lot of the same stuff that's going on in the country. So from that standpoint, I'm happy. But you know, now that the casinos have opened, it's slowly but surely, you know, converting into World 2.0. It's not going to be what we're used to whatsoever. So it's just understand.
Yeah, you're right. In fact, the casinos are actually opening up today, and so.
Yeah.
It's pretty phenomenal, and of course, you know, restrictions in place and stuff like that. But the number that has come out in terms of the tax dollars that we've lost is in the billions of dollars here. And everybody, you know, we're working on some stuff on my side of the fence with production and television production and stuff too. And it's kind of a, you know, get Vegas back to work type of a campaign, because there's a lot of people that aren't going to go back to work. But I was pretty impressed with the way they handled everything here in Vegas. They really put their foot down, you know, and put it down kind of fast. And I think that really helped a lot with some of the challenges. Can't say the same about the rest of the country, but everybody's getting hit pretty hard with it. It's like, you know, you kind of almost want to just go, come on, man, you know. Let's give us a break here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, as of when I last looked a couple of days ago, it was a third of all small businesses already out of business, you know, just because of the pandemic. You know, a lot of businesses that were offline are now moving online, which is good. You know, they finally made that plunge. But it's going to be a long road ahead. It really is, especially for the small shop owners, the restaurant owners. It's going to be quite some time. And now add in, you know, the riots from the past couple of weeks, and you know, a lot of these guys really can't open. It's really a shame what's happening right now.
Well, it is, and I've heard stories that of people that because of the economics and stuff, really had to cancel their insurance, and then things like this happen, and you know, just and then all of a sudden, you know, so you've taken people with life savings and they've built up these phenomenal businesses, and now they really are almost penniless, if you will. And I saw a story about a fireman, not quite sure where he was. He's a fireman, saved up his money to open up a sports bar. Mm-hmm. And he opened up so he didn't open up the sports bar because this all happened just before he was ready to open up, and he got looted. And they basically destroyed his business before he even opened it up. And so he kind of put that out there a little bit, hoping. He said he wanted to raise $100,000 with a campaign out there, and he ended up raising $900,000. So,
oh, that's great. You mean that GoFundMe campaign, right?
Yeah, the GoFundMe campaign. So in light of it all, we're seeing some really heart-wrenching things that are happening out there, and we're going to kind of get down to business here a little bit, but I want our viewers to know that we're all human, and our experts, and Kevin, you know, we're human. We go through the same stuff as well, and want to make sure that we address it, because we know that many of our viewers are actually doing that, and hopefully we provide a service that's fun. We try to have a pretty good time when we do the show. We don't take ourselves too seriously, except our businesses and stuff. And so, Kevin, you've been in the business for over 20 years, haven't you?
Yeah, I have 24.
And have you noticed things changing at all?
Oh, that's a very open-ended question, John.
I mean, from when you first started to now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when I
easier?
first started, it was the wild, wild west, right? So there was, you know, and I'm sure Evan will touch on this as well. I mean, now when you onboard a client or a campaign, the big emphasis is now compliance, right? So you're not stuck having to use, you know, the big dog, Bennett Kelly, or anybody else's legal help.
Right.
So compliance has become a very major factor, which is good because it's as the industry has matured, it makes it a lot better. Um, at the same point, you have to be more careful about how you choose your opportunities because of of all the pitfalls out there. So it's definitely changed quite a bit.
Well, yeah, in fact, even though the big dog couldn't be here, you can reach out to him at internetlawcenter.net, I believe it is,
Right.
and ask him some questions. And we encourage you to do that because sometimes you can get yourself so far backed into this that even difficult for Bennett to get you out of it unscathed.
I can tell you in my experience many times, whether it's Bennett or anybody else that I may have used over the years for little challenges that we had or what have you, that would be the normal first comment. Why did you wait so long to contact me? Why did you let it get to this point? We could have settled it, very early on if you didn't let it escalate to this.
Uh-huh.
So, they say, an ounce of prevention, right? So better to be proactive and understand that you're doing things right and take those extra steps than be reactive when you serve with a lawsuit. So I definitely would invest the time and the money in setting things up properly as opposed to let's just let it fly and see what happens. I mean,
Yeah, we'll,
a small tip I have too, Facebook has now, Facebook and Instagram, they've now launched their shop where they're letting people conduct business for free on Facebook. So anybody can open up a Facebook shop and start transacting on Facebook, which is a big push. It's something they weren't going to do originally for quite some time, and they made a big push to help with commerce now with what happened with COVID-19. So if you do have a product or service, I would definitely look into that. It's called Facebook Shops or Instagram Shops.
and we're finding also that more offline businesses are actually realizing now that they may have to switch and move to support their online business, and we're seeing a lot of changes that are taking place. And you mentioned about a third of the businesses that aren't going to open back up. Many cases that's because they will not have the staff to open back up.
Right.
Uh, and then they've got to go through the whole retraining and stuff. And I think now really paying people to not go to work, I don't think that's going to work out too well for us. And I think the majority of people really, from what I'm hearing and some of the posts that have gone around, is that the majority of people, they do want to work. They want to stay active and stuff. And I know that I'm only here at the university a couple of days a week now, and I'll tell you, it's you can get bored pretty quickly, and people just they want to represent, and they want to contribute, and they want to set good examples as well. And we're kind of fortunate that we're kind of in a business that we're not. It really doesn't affect us. We can keep on keeping on.
Absolutely. With the internet, you have the ability to touch anybody and conduct, global business even during a pandemic, which is amazing. Where you really can't with a lot of other businesses.
And you've mentioned a couple times before that you want to give back as well. So you're willing to offer some of your expertise for a short period of time.
Absolutely. Every episode or almost every episode I've mentioned, if somebody needs to make a pivot in their business, which I've pivoted my business over a dozen times in the past 24 years, I'll definitely give them free advice. I'll look at it objectively and say, this is a path that I would take or would not take, just from life experience. I mean, I've grown a lot of companies, and it becomes intuitive to know where you should or should not get involved at some point. Not that I'm right 100% of the time, but I'm right a lot more than I'm wrong. So
yeah. So basically, you can talk with people, even somebody doesn't have a lot of experience. You can learn a lot just by watching these shows and kind of find out what path you want to be in, or if you do have a business that's holding on by a thread, how you can really
tools out there, John. I was going to use this for closing statements, but being that Evan's still stuck in the green room, there's so many tools out there. Ryan Dice, digital marketer, did 30 days free of his whole, digital labs where anybody could access everything for 30 days for free. A lot of different people, Neil Patel, who was on our podcast, is giving away a SEO course, 100% free. There's a lot of self-learning you can do without investing a dollar and improve yourself. coming out of this pandemic.
We'll give out Bennett's address here again in a little bit near the end of the show. So we're going to go ahead now and knock on the green room door and bring in our featured guest here today. We've remodeled the green room, and it's got plush furniture in it, full bar in there, as well as dancing girls and a big screen TV. So we're going to try to drag our guest away from all of that. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to our show Mr. Evan Weber. Evan, so glad that you took the time to join us here today. So,
John, I told you not to stock the green room with tequila. See, this is what happens. See?
That's right. So all of our limes are gone, and we have no salt in there as well.
Right.
So I hope you enjoyed your stay in our plush redesigned green room, and we'll reintroduce you from Experience Advertising, Evan Weber. Evan, thanks so much for drinking all of our liquor and hanging out with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So walk us down the path a little bit of, you've been doing this for a while now, I think, 2007, 2008. So you've been around for a while, haven't you?
I have my agency since 2007, but I've been in the digital marketing industry since 1997. So
thinking about doing it for a long time.
I mean, I do this for fun, to be honest with you. I enjoy what I do, and I, love what I do, and, make money simultaneously. It's a beautiful thing.
What do they say, Evan? Do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life, right?
Right. Well, I have a little, philosophy on that. And a lot of people say you should do what you're passionate about, which I do agree if you can make money doing that, but you can also become passionate about what makes money. So it's more important about figuring out what makes money and one of the ways to make money, whether it's online or whatever the case may be, and then, enjoying that and putting your full effort into that. And then
That's funny. One of the things I used to tell some of my affiliates were passion don't pay the bills. Like, it's great you're passionate about something, but if you don't have a business plan behind it, passion's not going to take you everywhere. It's
exactly.
Great. Do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life, but there's got to be a business plan behind it. It's not just.
Listen, I became passionate about internet marketing when I didn't know anything about it. I wanted to, go to the MBA or, whatever. Then once I discovered this and got into it and learned it and then I became passionate about it. And it helps that it, generates revenue.
Sure.
You got to figure out how to leverage that aspect and then, go down that path. So, yeah.
Yes. So what do you want people to glean off of your website when they go to the website? What do you think is people are going to experience when they go to your website, or even get in touch with you in person as well?
Well, I wouldn't, my blog is going to educate people to some extent, but they come to me, they find me on LinkedIn, they find my, my videos, my articles, and then they seek me out personally. So unlike some other, quote unquote gurus out there, I am very accessible. And, my phone rings constantly with people just accessing me and picking my brain. And, some of those people can become clients of mine, some more likely not. But I'm committed to providing that type of support, not only to affiliate marketers, but to just companies in general that need to, market themselves online properly. And whether or not they're in a position to hire me or want to hire me, or, it's all over the place when you have an agency. It could be any of a number of possibilities of who you're talking to on the other end of that phone. But a lot of times it is just me, answering questions and dropping knowledge on them, and okay, have a great day, bye. And so I enjoy that though. That's part of what I enjoy doing what I do, because I can do that. I'm one of the few people that can actually back up that type of activity and be that person that can, show the people the way and to show them the light. And I don't care if I get anything out of it.
That's great. That's the right attitude, because when you give just to give, then somehow it comes back, right?
Yeah.
Who is your ideal client, Evan? Because I know you've had everything, from Fortune 500 companies to smaller companies. who would your ideal client be where you feel you could make the most impact? So if somebody's listening to the podcast and they go, wow, I think Evan could really come in and I could see some notable differences, who is that client?
The client, that client would be someone who lets me come in and take over everything and implement everything I want to implement for them. What I do is I analyze and audit all the current digital marketing strategies they have going on, their website's conversion rate, strategies to improve the rate at which people are transacting on the website or becoming a lead. And so that needs to be looked at initially, and then looking at all their digital marketing campaigns and auditing those and getting those reacclimated and implementing whatever other strategies they're not currently using. So that's plugging the holes, filling the holes. And yeah, I mean, the answer to it could be it could be a startup, it could be a publisher, it could be a big company, a medium-sized company. You know, I have a saying, you know, I can help any company grow. It doesn't matter who it is. It just depends on how much they need of my agency.
Sure.
Which, you know, a lot of times they have internal resources. They hire me to work with their internal resources to make them better at what they do. So that's a thing I do. Or just managing all the platforms like Google Ads, Facebook, LinkedIn, all the advertising platforms for them. We also do a lot of content marketing, a lot of blogging, articles for SEO, blog posts, press releases. So we have a whole content division that is a nice, a thing that everyone needs. Just a good money maker for my agency, and it's extremely quality for an affordable price kind of thing. So that's nice to be able to offer that in addition to the consulting and the agency services.
Yeah, I noticed that you offer a free audit as well. That's a great place to start.
Yeah.
Not only because I may think that I've got the greatest marketing plan in the world and find out after this audit comes in stuff that I didn't even know about. And the thing is that, you know, that right there in itself is a huge value, because I always feel, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's good information or it's bad information. As long as I get the information, the bad stuff I can improve on, and the good stuff I get affirmation that I should keep doing more of that.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because there are a lot of people that will come to me and they may have worked with other agencies, or they may have tried different strategies internally and none of it has worked, and they're like, you know, digital marketing just doesn't work for my company, or Facebook doesn't work, or Google doesn't work for my company. And I basically just say, you know, it just wasn't done properly. You know, so it's a matter of working through what was previously done and how it was done, and then, like I said, addressing the website's conversion rate question, increasing the conversion rate, the effectiveness of the website always has to be addressed first and foremost. And that's where I try to differentiate myself from other agencies or other people that do something similar, is by really addressing the conversion rate, you know, from the design to the on-site tools to the retargeting ads where you follow people around if they leave without converting. So you have to address, you know, the conversion rate issue is a multifaceted issue. But if you're not addressing it at all, you'll never be able to drive as much traffic as you want to the website or company, because your budgets will always be constricted by the conversion rate. I call it, you know, your advertising budget is being strangled by your conversion rate, because you don't convert well enough. The traffic doesn't convert well enough. The better the traffic converts, the more you can open up the budget on the front end to drive more traffic. So that's the thing that a lot of companies don't get. The savvy ones do, the bigger ones do, because they bring in the people that actually know about this type of thing, and they put people in place to address it. But most companies aren't able to really address the website effectiveness issue. So we try to do that as much as possible.
Talking a little bit more about your agency, Evan, is it a full service agency in regards to the smaller clients that you just mentioned? If you have all these recommendations and you say, you know, I would move the form here and do this and do that, can you now follow through and do all that for them?
Yeah, so I have developers that we can pull in, you know, resources, great resources, or we use their internal resources, and I just make the list. Here's all the tweaks you need to do to the website, or a redesign, a landing page is redesigned, or the site is redesigned. I mean, I'm committed. I have those resources also. We do, phenomenal landing pages and entire websites, but that's not really what I sell per se. We do that to get the client in a position to succeed with their digital advertising.
The value add. So if somebody comes to you and says, Evan, make a web page, that's because that was another question I had, is what customer do you not want? And just, in a broad spectrum. So you're not a website development business. You're not a programming business. You're a advertising or a performance-based marketing agency. But if you need tools to be able to achieve the goal, you have those tools available.
Yeah, we pretty much do everything in digital marketing that can be done as an agency, from web design to content to development to actually running the campaigns to writing the content, the whole gamut, to sending email blasts, to designing the emails, customer newsletters, member newsletters. There isn't anything we don't touch, but we don't do all of that for every client. Each one is a case-by-case basis, what they need, a lot of times they have stuff already handled internally, and we'll be doing the things that are not handling, or we'll take over some of those things. A lot of times they'll be doing something like their internal email campaigns, let's say. So they'll run those by me, subject line testing, creative testing, increasing click-through rates, open rates, all of that. So I'll give them that value, my feedback there. A lot of what I do is just delivering value through feedback and being that objective, quote unquote, expert that can come in and say, you're doing it like this, but you should tweak it like this, or have you thought of doing it like this? So consider myself privileged that I can actually do that with more or less any company I look at, any industry, any company, as long as they are either wanting to drive traffic to their website. You have to be wanting to drive traffic to your website, and that has to be everyone else, not so much. But if you're a company that's looking to do digital marketing effectively, then yeah, I can work with that company, as long as they have a budget to work with.
Well, good. So we're gonna hold you over for just a little bit and come back with some closing thoughts.
I had a quick point there, because Evan just made a really good point. As long as they have a budget to work with. Yeah. Evan, can you help me dispel the what's out there in regards to free traffic? Like, I understand you get free traffic because you built a content empire around it, but for the normal person, can you help me dispel this facade that there's all this free traffic available on the internet?
Well, there is free traffic available if you build up to that point with a lot of content.
Right.
Only through proactive content creation over time and other factors as well, does that relate to free traffic. Then as your website gets known over time, you get a lot of direct type-in traffic. So that's like a branding thing. But there's, you should have an organic traffic strategy, but you also need a comprehensive paid advertising strategy, digital advertising strategy. And you need to be doing both simultaneously. And building up both channels over time. So every channel in digital needs to be built up over time. So a company might be doing 8 or 9 things digitally, and each channel needs to be, whether it's building your email list, your Twitter audience, your Facebook audience, all your audiences, your traffic sources, maximizing them, getting them to convert better, expanding on them. It's not rocket science, but it boggles my mind that companies don't understand the fact that there are, it's called a multi-channel strategy, and you have to build each channel up over time. And that's really the way to grow over time. There's no other way to achieve it. No one channel. There are companies that can leverage one channel, like entirely the affiliate channel. They'll never be able to really get all the traffic out there for them, but it's entirely possible to use one channel or to build up a lot of revenue. But that's not what I recommend. I recommend multi-channel digital advertising and utilizing that to its fullest extent. That's really how it should be done.
Well, excellent. So just hang there for a minute. We'll come back with some closing thoughts. Kevin, like I said, the shows are just phenomenal. Evan's doing a great job. But a couple of weeks ago, you had some pretty exciting news to share with us as well. You came out the big winner chicken dinner, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's something people don't know about me. I breed horses. I've been breeding racehorses for about 20 years now. And obviously with COVID, where the last time this horse was supposed to race, as the horse was going to the gate, you know, this thing flashed in the computer screen, you know, due to COVID, we're stopping all racing. So, you know, we thought we'd be smart and we said, oh, well, Golden Gate, California is still up and we'll ship the horse up there. So it took 2 days to get the horse there. And they shut it down in Golden Gate as well. So we came out and we raced 3 weeks ago. The horse came a game second and only lost a pound. So when a horse races, if they're unfit, they can lose 40 to 60 pounds during the race. We lost 1 pound.
Wow.
We knew the horse was in great shape, so we said, you know what, we'll have the horse race 8 days later, and the horse raced 8 days later and won quite convincingly. So it's a lot of fun. It's, you know, when you breed, it's such a long path from the gestation, from, the mare getting impregnated all the way through to having the baby, and then the baby on the farm, and then you have to train the horse, and by the time the horse gets to the track, you're already, heavily financially invested in the horse and heavily invested just in time and effort in the horse. So it's good to see that happening. So we'll be racing again at Santa Anita. That horse's name is Handsome Cat, and then Dylan's cat, his sister, will be racing at Del Mar. So at Del Mar, we'll have 2 this year. I don't know what it's going to look like. They say they might let owners go and attend, but right now it's just strictly staff. So they're racing with nobody in the crowds or anything else. But, at least, it's still happening, and racehorses are athletes. So they want to run. So to have them just sitting in a barn and not working out, it doesn't do well for the horses. Luckily, the state of California, although their restrictions were very stringent, they did let the horses go out every day and work out and what have you, which at least led us where we can still race now that they reopened and we have fit horses. They weren't just all sitting there getting fat. So.
Well, congratulations to you. That's awesome, man. We look to see more excitement stuff, and you made national television as well, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, that was fun for sure. The guy botched my name and called Handsome Cat Handsome Mike halfway through the stretch, but who cares, right? Yeah. The guy's like, Kevin Devin Vintage. I'm like, yep, that's perfect. Yep, that's great. No problem.
But they spelled it right though. So anyway,
Yeah.
So Evan, you've been awesome, man. Some great information. We want to make sure to give you a couple of minutes here with any closing thoughts or something you might have thought of while we were talking horse racing.
Yeah, I've been trying, like Kevin said earlier, trying to help people looking for new gigs, connect people with different companies, just using my reach on LinkedIn to share jobs and share people's profiles that need them. And so I think everyone needs to do more of that. Ever since this thing, I'm pretty much a grinder, that Kevin.
Yeah,
Ever since this thing started a few months ago, I've been going extra hardcore. 14-hour days minimum sitting on this computer, which I'm on a computer, so I really can't complain.
yeah, sure.
Nonetheless, it's a matter of it's an hour thing. It's an effort thing that I just want to convey, that people need to just crank it up. You need to especially if you work in this industry, or you're privileged enough to work in digital marketing, where your job isn't really going anywhere. This isn't really impacting our jobs, So you need to be thankful, and you need to leverage this medium any way you can, and just put in the legwork and the effort that you should be. No one should be working 40 hours a week right now, that works in this industry. That's my opinion. That's what I do. So that's kind of my message. It's not a very optimistic message or anything like that. It's more like a realism message that, just grind.
Oh, that's true. And hard work pays off as well. A little bit of luck, and there you go. So we want to thank Evan Weber from Experience Advertising for being with us. ExperienceAdvertising.com.
Thanks for having me.
Where you want to go and use them. Go ahead and get that free audit and kind of start from the beginning as well. I want to thank our executive producer Kevin DiVincenzi. We'll make sure we get that spelled right, for being with us here today and setting up a great show And we'll be back next week with show number 12. We've got some great guests on that show as well. And so I want to remind you that this is basically it's a non-ad supported show. So that means we count on you guys to tell your friends, go to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating. You can watch past shows and these shows on our website, internettraffickings.com. YouTube channel's going great. Facebook page is really looking like a lot of fun, a lot of great comments on there as well. So make sure you use that for us as well. And also want to remind you, if you do need some help from the legal standpoint, the big dog Bennett Kelly, who's normally on every one of our shows, taking a couple of weeks off here, and he can be reached at internetlawcenter.net. That's internetlawcenter.net. Go ahead and hit him up as well, and start with a clean slate with him and ask some of those questions. That's what he's there for. He's a great guy and he's a lot of fun. So for all of us, to all of you broadcasting here from the campus of UNLV in fabulous Las Vegas, I'm the Big Fabu. I'm John Fondy. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Internet Traffic Kings.